Hello and welcome back to LFC Transfer Room. Back again with another stream ahead of Wednesday night's game against Napoli away from home. But today I'm joined by Matty, Kev, and Rigo. First of all, Matty, I'll start with you. How are you doing on this beautiful night?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's good to see the Twitter cesspits calm down since the derby. Yeah, I'm doing well, to be honest. How are you, Owen?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, just same as everyone. I think the third kit came out today, which I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a sec. Kev, how are you doing, mate?
All good, mate. Fantasy League doing well as well, so all good, mate.
Brilliant. Yeah, you love to see it. My points aren't looking too good at the minute. I've kind of half given up on it. I if you don't have a good start, then that's kind
Kev's
of it,
about
isn't it?
40 at Ed.
Yeah.
I'm already, and Jack said already, it's great.
Oh, yeah, something to keep an eye on, isn't it? Very competitive. Rigo, how are you doing, mate?
Doing well, Owen. Thanks for checking in. Looking forward to Wednesday's match against Napoli.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a real interesting one, I think, because every time we've gone there, past few seasons we've lost. So we've got a point to prove. Matty, do you think the psychology of it, considering we haven't done well in the past, do you think that's going to play a big part?
Nah. You never know what's going to happen with the Liverpool side at the minute, but I don't think it'll play a part, to be fair. I actually think that if we go and win in Naples, it's a bit of a statement from the side as well, to be honest, and given how much hate they've had the past few weeks. I think if they go and get that win. But to be honest with you, if we were to lose, I'm not going into that fixture expecting like a win anyway, because it's a tough game.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. They're top of the Serie A, joint top, you could say. But yeah, they're playing some very good football. And even though losing Kalidou Koulibaly, you would have thought that would have a massive impact on them. But Kev, obviously not. It's not affecting them at all at the minute.
No, doing well in Serie A, as we spoke. A good win against Lazio on Saturday night. Playing well, playing very well indeed. I fully expect us to go over there. I don't think we'll have any doubts that what's happened previous is going to fall into our hands. But I agree with Matt. You just don't know what's going to turn up with this Liverpool team and what the actual cesspit of Twitter is going to be like after Wednesday night's performance. So it's there for any side of it, to be honest.
Yeah, Rigo, it could be a real dull place, just social media in general, if Liverpool don't put in a good performance, because it's overdue, really, isn't it? Like the Bournemouth game, 9-0, great performance. You can't have any complaints there. But then Newcastle wasn't really convincing. Everton, obviously, we drew. We need a performance here, don't we?
Definitely do get that momentum going. It was a tough match on Saturday. Came close on various occasions on taking the win out of Goodison, but definitely need to string a couple of good performances together, and I think Wednesday would be the springboard for it.
Thank you. Thanks for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Like you have to earn number one fan of the channel, surely. Number one supporter.
Easy.
Unbelievable. Rigo, carry on. Sorry, mate.
No worries. Thank you, Jen. Definitely need to string a couple of good performances together. Hopefully by Wednesday we'll have our regular midfielders in play. If not, our new boy and Arthur there to kind of control the tempo. But I'm sure we'll touch on some of those points further in the pod. Napoli definitely playing well. They replaced Koulibaly very well with Kim, the South Korean coming over from the Super League in Turkey. He's doing extremely well. Their Georgian player, I'm going to butcher his name, Svartashilia, their left winger there. Only $10 million in these joint top as far as goals in Serie A. So they're definitely on the come up. A couple of things we have to look forward to is that perhaps they might be down tools a few players. So, but definitely need Wednesday to come out with minimum a draw, but definitely a win there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm kind of worried about their attacking options. Really, when you look at them, the forwards, you've got Victor Osimhen, who I remember Europa Conference, I think it was actually against Leicester. He was absolutely devastating last season. And then on the wing, you've got Lozano, Mexican international. He's done absolute wonders over the past few years. So if we are open how we have been in the past, like we're going to leak goals against that attack. There's no two ways about it, and they're going to take their chances, and we simply can't afford to give them. Matty, do you think that could be a problem? Because I remember first preview of the season, Fulham, you were like, nah, Mitrovic, not worried at all, not nervous. But are you as confident here?
I'm not as confident just purely because it's Napoli, and every year that we seem to play them in the Champions League, we never seem to manage to get the results in Naples. So if we don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I don't think that we'll do as well in this group stage as we did last year, winning every game. But I still think we'll go through top of the group. Napoli do have a phenomenal attacking line, but Liverpool, in my opinion, also have the best defence in Europe. So the Champions League, Liverpool are a different beast. We could probably come out and steamroll Napoli, even though we did look leggy against Everton. But I'm not as confident, but I'm not as worried in that sense as well. If we go in and we get beat, I'm not bothered. It's not the end of the world. We'll still win the group. But it's the toughest fixture out the group, so I'd rather get out the way first.
Kev, do you agree with that? Because you've got Ajax and Rangers. I think Rangers away, that's going to be a real tough game with the atmosphere and the crowds. Then even Ajax, I know we've had quite good success against them in recent years, but it's still another horrible place to go.
It is, but I think Ajax are a team on a rebuild again. Do you know what I mean? Look, the players that have left, there's a rebuild going on. They've got a new manager in charge. So there's a lot going on at Ajax that normally wouldn't be going on at this stage. I agree with Matty. I think Napoli's the hardest one in the group by a mile. Especially over in their place. Owenstein may be a doubt for Wednesday. He's got an ankle. Looks like he was meant to be coming back to full fitness, but I think there was something coming out today that he's actually not fully fit at the minute. So he is a major doubt for them on Wednesday night. So it's going to be difficult. Rangers, well, you only have to look at what Celtic have done to them, and I think that we're far better than Celtic. So if they can score 4 past them, even with how dodgy we've been in the Premier League at the minute, I still see us at least coming away with 2 wins against them. Ajax, I'd always go 2 wins there, but I'd take a draw and a win at home. And Napoli, I'd be happy if we come away with a draw or more, because we haven't gone there and done ourselves any favours, to be honest, or done any justice.
Yeah, I think getting a draw, it's not the ideal start, but I think we'd all take that and kind of, the way we've been playing, I think we take that and move on and just kind of hope once the players return, because we'll get onto that. There's a lot of players still. Thiago Alcantara back in training today. Diogo Jota obviously featured in the Everton game, but could he potentially be starting? Riga, would you start Diogo Jota in this game? Because Darwin Núñez, I don't think he was unbelievable against Everton. He's still kind of adjusting, really. And then Roberto Firmino, kind of not at his best, arguably. I know he's putting a few performances here and there, but yeah, it's kind of a bit of a predicament, that one, isn't it?
I'd still bring Jota off the bench. We got to go with what our ideal state was coming into this season, which would be Darwin Núñez leading the line up front. So I know he's fully healthy, even though he was suspended for the 3 matches for the Red. He's been training this entire time. So I'd go with him to begin with, and then bring Jota, start bringing him off the bench. Firmino did an admirable job in the second half coming in, but unfortunately couldn't get much going against Everton. But I definitely start off with Darwin, Luis Diaz, as well as Salah leading the front 3. The only question would be is, what are we doing in midfield? I know Thiago came in today, starting practice, full session of practice. But at this point, do you think we're ready to feature Arthur in the midfield, or should we hold off on that? Going over to you, Kevin.
Good question.
Cheers, mate. Thanks one. I probably would start Arthur in that midfield with Fab and with Elliott. That's what I'd go with in that midfield myself personally. There's an argument to start with Jota, I think, as well. I think we go to what we knew, what's played well, and what's played well to a point is when Núñez isn't in that front 3. There's a bit more fluidity, and we're still learning how to evolve with the Nunes up front, and he's still evolving on how to play in a Liverpool front three and what's expected of him. So for me, I would be starting Salah, Jota, and Diaz, and I'd also be putting Arthur in there as well if possible.
Yeah, I totally agree with that midfield. I think Fabinho, you can't really drop him, can you? You've got no real like for like, especially when Henderson's injured, and yeah, he hasn't been playing anywhere near his best either. So yeah, that's a no-brainer there. And then Harvey Elliott, I think with Fabio Carvalho, the little injury he picked up, dead leg. I don't think he'll be necessarily 100% fit for this one. So Harvey Elliott nailed on the way he's been playing. And then you've got another space in that left centre midfield spot where you look at it, who can really play there? James Milner, wouldn't see him coming in. Maybe Curtis Jones potentially, but I think it'll be too soon for him. So yeah, we're very, very limited in options. And so Matty, it's got to be Arthur playing there. Like who else?
I think we'll go 4-2-3-1 with Fab and Arthur as the double pivot, because that's Arthur's strongest position. Then he's got Fab next to him, speaks his native tongue. That helps a lot. And then you could maybe put Carvalho in the 10, Salah on the right, Diaz on the left. And I'd go with Nunes up front over Jota, purely because his Champions League record last year was unbelievable. I think he got 6 goals in 10 games. He was a real threat for Benfica, scored against us home and away as well. And I feel like a game like this might be where Nunes finds himself. He made his name for himself in the Champions League last year. And I'm just so scared about rushing Jota back because he's our most clinical attacker, to be honest. So for that reason, I'd rather Jota play against Wolves in the Prem, because I feel like the Champions League Liverpool sail through anyway. We always do, but we need results in the league. So I'd probably save Jota more for the Wolves game, but I'd definitely start Arthur. Curtis Jones will maybe be back for the Wolves game. If not, it'll be Ajax the following week, which excites me because last time Jones played against Ajax, he was arguably his best game ever in a Liverpool shirt. So Arthur's fit. He's probably not match fit, but it'll help him massively playing with Fabinho, play him in a position he's comfortable with as a holding midfielder, play the double pivot, have 4 attackers and see what happens, really. I think going like that, Napoli are going to prepare all week for Liverpool playing 4-3-3, so mix it up a bit, changes it a little bit.
I think the fact as well that Arthur come from the Serie A, he's used to that sort of style of play Napoli are going to want to play. So I think it's perfect. It's sort of the best way to ease him into starting 11. So yeah, I'm totally all for Arthur getting his debut in this one. And yeah, as you say before, there's no one really there. Curtis Jones, would love to see him back, by the way, but yeah, it's just going to be too early. Kev, 4-2-3-1, it's been mentioned a lot. Maybe some sort of variation change, possibly.
You think so? I thought we played better in the derby when we reverted to that, or as some would say, a 4-4-2-4. I think I agree with Matty to a certain extent in what he said, and reverting to that, it would be great. But I know his doubts over Jota. I just think Nunes is a little bit hot-headed at the minute, and I just think he needs. What worked well for us was in that Charity Shield, and what worked well was how well we were fluidly wise in that game, and then the impact of Nunes for 30 minutes in a game. I get where Matty's coming from with starting with Nunes, but the frustration will come in if he starts as badly as what he did against Everton, and then we're ending up reverting back to Jota. I just think we go with what works well. I think we need to go back to basics, especially at the minute, and try and force a way of fluidity. Because at the minute, we're playing with players that look as though they've only just started playing again together and don't know how to play. And we need to find something that evolving that can get that going. Bobby done it well, playing in that 4-2-3-1, so there is an argument which Matty would agree with if you play Firmino there and give him as the centre forward, but he needs to play in that centre forward position and not coming out like he has done, and as he does with Benfica when he was there, and coming back onto the left hand side, and you got Diaz and Nunes there, and there's no one in the middle that is the point of your attack. It's out wide, and there's no need for him to be there. So that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you make there. Yeah, Nunes it's really weird because you can see his frustration on the pitch. You can see that he's not having sort of the influence on the game that he would like. He's getting into those sort of wide areas at times. You saw in the Everton game, picking up the ball, and then he's trying to cross it, and it's like, well, we haven't really got anyone in the box. So yeah, at the minute it's kind of just finding what works well. I saw a comment here which I'll try and pull up about Jota and kind of just saving him for Wolves. I think that's quite important, Rigo, because you got to remember as well he hasn't had a pre-season, so we can't expect him to come in straight away and be at it. Like, it's unrealistic, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think for the time being, he's better suited coming off the bench, change of pace, and giving us that goal threat, perhaps relieving Nunez or perhaps Diaz at this point. Diaz has started every match for us this season so far and pretty much played every single minute. So perhaps as a sub, he'd be better suited just to get him acclimated. As you mentioned, he didn't have a preseason at all, coming injured from the Portuguese national team. So I think kind of easing him in and getting his body used to playing, I think would be the best suited, just to make sure we don't aggravate anything he has going on. We can't afford to be lose another attacker. We've been very, very short off the bench these past few weeks. So we definitely want to make sure he's ready for the long haul. I think a homecoming with Wolves will definitely be a right spot, perhaps to throw him into the starting 11. So I definitely wouldn't start him right off the bat against Napoli.
Yeah, to be fair, you can rely on Klopp and the coaching staff to be sensible. They're not the sort of coaches to go and do anything reckless, are they? In fairness, but comment here as well. Bajcetic, potentially a Champions League debut, Matty?
No. I've had the pleasure this year of actually going to the academy every single week to watch the 18s 1 week and the 21s for Transfer Room doing the articles and stuff. And Bajcetic is a player. He really is a player. He is going to make it at Liverpool. He probably is the future of the holding midfield role at the club. He's absolutely fantastic. But we're going to play Napoli in Naples, and you want to throw a kid into the holding midfield role. Like, Fabinho has done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Everyone's saying he looks leggy, but he's trying to do 3 jobs at once in the midfield. Like, I feel like with Thiago coming back, you'll probably start seeing the best of Fabinho again. But I rate Bajcetic very, very, very highly. There's a few in the academy who are really good, and he's one of them. But again, look at Curtis Jones, how much hate he gets off our fan base because he was relied upon too early in his career when he's still trying to learn his trade. You throw Bajcetic in and rely on him this early in his career. If he has a few bad games, our Twitter cesspit fan base just turns on people like that. And it's not fair. And I feel like the club and the coaching team would have learned a lot from Jones, throwing him in and relying on him. Yet we could say we're doing that with Elliott, but he's generational. He's levels above these type of players. These are players who are going to be good enough to play week in, week out for Liverpool, but to rely on them and put them into games like Napoli away, it's suicidal for the players, really. We've done it with Tyler Morton against Spurs last year, and he got bullied for 90 minutes, and everyone was going, oh, I don't know if he'll make it at the club. He probably will. He's another fantastic player, but one bad game and our fan base turns on you, so I'd save him. He's going to be very, very good, but not to start in the Champions League first game against Napoli. No chance.
Yeah, I think that is a bit too forward, a bit too optimistic, unfortunately. But we're talking about the third kit as well, because we all saw the announcement last night. If the transfer window is still open, I think that's probably why the club waited a few days more, because, yeah, otherwise there would have been a massive fume saying, oh, we wanted another midfielder or something. But, yeah, it was a third kit. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's dark green. I think that would be sort of right colour to describe it as. Kev, have you seen it? And what's your thoughts if you have?
Thanks for coming to me. I want a big, fat, overweight 45-year-old on what our new kit looks like. Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's a bit like asking those fellas who go to the match to stop wearing the kit because Klopp's not going to ask you to play, so you might as well not turn up in it. But no, personally, I do actually look. It does look quality. I'll be honest. The Ecru kit last season, I thought was one of our best kits that we've had, and it's it's nice. It's nice, but as for the 45-year-old overweight fella, it's not going to suit me whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I'm sure you do a good job roughing it, Kev. I'm sure. But I saw comment as well saying, "What a kit, man! Want to buy it, but wait for next summer for the right price. I don't do stop gaps." That comment.
That's the video I was seeing.
Unbelievable, Rigo. I absolutely love that tweet. And what's your thoughts on the kit as well, by the way?
I think it's gorgeous. It kind of closely matches the green and our LFC transfer room logo, so it goes hand in hand. So I think it'll look great on the pod and on the streams. I think it's a great third kit. Hopefully, they'll go on sale a little sooner than last year's kits did, because they ran out of the away kits so quickly. But hopefully, the supply chain issues are past them, and we can have enough out there for everyone to suit up. I think it's gorgeous. Perhaps we'll see it on Wednesday, since they kind of released it today. So perhaps we'll see it on Wednesday, which would be pretty cool. But I'm definitely a fan, but I'll wait until it goes on sale to purchase one.
Yeah, to be fair, whenever you see the players in it, it's all good to see it by itself when you see a leak on the floor or whatever. But when you see the actual players in it, you're like, yeah, it looks good. Matty, what's your thoughts? And I think kits always, for me, always relies and depends on an iconic performance. For example, a win away at a big rival. I always think that kind of influences how I kind of view and see the kit.
Yeah, very similar. I echo what Kev said about the Echery one last year. That was our best kit in years. And fun fact about the logo, Rigo, we actually got sent the leaked kit about 18 months before it came out, and that's why the colours, the transfer room is them colours, because they look so well. I remember Dan telling us, but I do really like it. I'm more of a fan of the home kit this year than any other ones. I know it's just a red kit, but it looks more like Liverpool red, and that's what I like to see. It's the dark red, and that's like a bit like Shankly red. And I'm a fan of the away kit more than the third kit, to be honest. I liked all the mad colours and stuff on it. I think it looked good on the players as well. But it's a decent kit. But like Kev said, it's just a kit. I won't be buying it myself. I haven't bought a kit for years, but it's nice. We probably won't see it much. As long as it makes the club some money because we get a percentage of the shirt sales, then I'm all for it.
What is it coming to now? Relying on the club's budget on a kit. But,
Everything for Bellingham, no one. Come on, Migs.
I might go buy the kit this year, actually, because it might pay some of Bellingham's wages.
When we were linked to Mbappe, and people was like GoFundMe, and like people were donating actual money to this, thinking the money was actually to go towards Mbappe. It's like it's a natural collection at that point if you're giving money to that. But so yeah, the game on Wednesday, Wolves on Saturday as well, which we can talk about because I think there's a few things to say there in terms of the league form. We've only won 2. Yeah, how many games have we had at home now? We've had
3 and 1-2.
Yeah,
1-2.
Yeah, Crystal Palace we drew. So a pretty good home record, but a not so good away record as things stand. A win against Wolves. Wolves have been doing all right. Kev, do you think it's going to be simple, or do you think it's going to be another one of those games that's going to go right to the end, and we're going to make hard work of it once again?
I see it being the same as what as it was in the stadium for Palace and Newcastle. There's a bit of trepidation going into this game, and you don't know what's going to turn up. I think at times we have made it hard for ourselves, and that feeds into the stadium as well. There's a bit of, oh no, here we go again, and as soon as one person makes a mistake, everyone's on the back, and and everyone just loves the negative thoughts at the minute. It's hard at the minute to be a fan, but if you take a step away and look at the league, for the problems we've got in midfield and what we've done, we're only 5 points off the champions of last season. So, and we're only 6 games in. It's not like it's 1 game left in the season. We can't mathematically do nothing. Now, people may say I'm being naive in me thoughts and I'm too positive, but that's the way I am. If you go in with positive, it'll feed onto the pitch, and if we go in with that, with this negative attitude like we have done, then you'll always harbour on of what could have been. Transfer window's over. Let's move on. We got what we've got. Let's move on. Let's see what this group are doing. Everyone's starting to come back now as well. So even in this minor blip, we've got Jota coming back. We've got Curtis Jones. We've also got our main one coming back, which is Thiago. Happy days. Do you know what I mean? The quaver is going to need to be covered in bubble wrap. But let's just.
As well. It's been very quiet about
him.
And
Canate as well. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So all these players are eventually going to be coming back into the fold. It's going to be tricky against Wolves. Wolves don't concede that many, and they've been playing, and they're hard to play against. Large has got them playing differently to what was under the previous manager, but they can be good. They can get got at. But we need to turn up. We need to stop this lackluster way of not turning up at the start of games and starting to get behind the team a bit. And we'll start seeing the performances improve. But I see nothing other than 3 points for Liverpool, to be honest. But it may be nervy for the first 10 minutes until we score.
Fingers crossed. But as well, talk about centre halves. Joe Gomez on the weekend. A lot of people are giving him praise. But personally, I didn't think he was that good. I'll be totally honest. I didn't think he was unbelievable. The way people are making it out, and people saying, "Oh, he's our best player," he just wasn't, in my opinion. And yeah, he's done all right, but he's done all right for Gomez standards, in my opinion. Once again, and I think you look at it, and yeah, if Matt had put in a performance like that, or Van Dijk, you wouldn't be saying anything about it. I just think it's because Gomez makes you kind of nervous when he's on the ball a lot of the time, or at least for me. He makes me kind of feel like he's got a mistake in him. Rigo, I say Gomez probably going to start Wednesday, but then you probably expect Joel Matip to come back in Saturday. Do you agree with that?
At this point, perhaps we might see Matip start with Van Dijk at this point, just because we did see Matip come off the bench, and just to give Gomez a break. He's even though he hasn't been hurt, you don't want to run that risk as well, throwing too many matches in a row for him, especially since it wasn't a straight substitution. He moved over to the right with Milner moving to midfield on Saturday. So perhaps this would be a good way to get Matip up and going, throwing him next to Virgil van Dijk. The one thing that did cross my mind is at what point do we rest Virgil? He's had a couple of mistakes in him already this season. Could have gotten sent off with that challenge on Onana on Saturday. So it might be a little too early to take him off and perhaps put Matip and Gomez there in the back. But at some point, we do need to take a look at VVD and see if we can get a rest in for him.
Yeah, that's actually very true, because you look at last season, he came straight back in. And I remember in the Champions League, though, Klopp kind of eased him slowly back in. He didn't play many of the group stage games at all. I think he played Matip, Konate, and it worked well. But yeah, Van Dijk, you kind of look at him and think he's just invincible. There's no way he could pick up an injury. But Matty, we've got to be so careful with him going forward, because an injury to Van Dijk, and you've seen already Konate's had injuries, Matip's had injuries, Gomez always gets his long-term injury. So yeah, we can't really rely on many of them, can we, really? And if one big injury comes, we could be, over the course of a season, we could be in deep, deep trouble.
I disagree. I feel like if Virgil was going to have any knock-on effect from that ACL, it probably would have been last season, and he was still as brilliant as he has been. Yeah, he started this season slowly by his standards. But I think we're in a position now where if Van Dijk got a knock, we've got Matip, Gomez and Konate who can fill in, to be fair. If Matip had a knock, vice versa, I think we've got 4 world-class centre-halves. And on Gomez, he 100% was the best player on the park in the derby. He had 100% tackle succession. I think it was 89% pass completion. He won all of his aerial duels. This was the Joe Gomez, for me, in that game that won us the Premier League a few years ago. He was back to that, and the weak link, if we're being completely honest, in the derby was probably Van Dijk. I think Gomez was fantastic in the derby myself. It was really, really nice to see. My starting centre-back pairing would be Konate and Van Dijk, though. I think Konate's rapid, he's a beast. Probably the long-term successor for Van Dijk. He's an absolute animal, but I'd like to see Konate and Gomez together, to be honest with you, a little bit more. So I wouldn't be against giving Van Dijk a little rest, to be fair. He doesn't need to play every game. I'm not saying he should be dropped, but he doesn't need to be playing week in, week out, every single game, every 3 days anymore, because we've got world-class options. We can afford to give him a little bit of a rest, and rests will benefit players with fatigue and stuff like that. But I'd probably say Napoli isn't the game maybe for it, but when Konate is back, I'd like to see Konate Gomez, because Konate is a unit. They're both rapid. We can play the high line still with them too. But I just can't wait to see Matip back. I think he'll probably go with Virgil and Matip on Wednesday. I mean, I've often said Joel Matip for me is the second best centre half in world football. He's that good. He's so underrated.
I absolutely love him and Kanate as well. I think he's an absolute beast. Like, just he doesn't really have a weakness, mate. Maybe like positionally he can improve, but apart from that, he's just absolutely scary. But yeah, to end the stream, we'll get match predictions. Kev, who do you think? What do you think the score's going to be? And who do you think? Jeez, I don't know if anyone saw that bit of lightning. Jeez.
Yeah.
That was
Better
scary,
get
isn't
off
it?
for you here, over that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right on the
Let's
stream.
make this quick. To be honest, my predictions, if anyone remembers, I predicted Liverpool to win 4-0. Mitrovic would have an absolute useless game against us in Fulham. I'm going 1-1.
Rigo, what about you?
I think we'll squeak out a 1-0 win. Osimhen looks like he'll be out for Wednesday. Perhaps Chucky Lozano will be out as well. Really depending on how our midfield does. I think that's been our weakest point in keeping us from having a sustained attack. But hopefully, getting our injured boys back in there will lead us to a 1-0 victory on Wednesday.
And Matty, what about you?
I'm siding with Kev. I think 1-1. It'll either be one extreme or the other. We'll either come out and make a statement and batter them and turn them over, or it'll be 1-1. I can't see anything like in between. Maybe a late winner, 2-1, something like that. But I think it'll be very, very tight. It's more than just a Napoli side. You're taking on their fan base as well. It's a very, very hostile atmosphere. I don't know anyone who's going. To be honest, nobody's going. Out of people who go to your ways. You could literally get a Napoli ticket right now if you wanted to. Go on Twitter. Everyone's getting rid of them. So I don't think we'll take many over with us. It'll be very loud with Napoli fans. So I reckon 1-1. I'd take a 1-1 if you offered it to me now, 100%. As long as we don't get beat, then it's a success for me, really, in Naples.
Yeah, I think.
What about you, Owen?
I think I have to go with 2-0. I think we're just gonna make a big statement. Goals from Salah, and then there's Diaz, because they've been sort of standout forward so far this season. Are pretty much only wingers. So I'm not going to rule them out at all. And I think, they're going to have a statement. So, but that's what I'm saying. But, make sure to leave your comments down in the section below. And, we'd love to get your thoughts. But, that's it for tonight's stream. Thanks to everyone who's joined. I'm going to quickly leave because it seemed like absolute hell's going on outside. So I'm getting a bit scared. But, we'll join you for a preview tomorrow as well. So enjoy that. And, we'll catch you guys in a bit. See you in a bit.